Hello everyone, my name is JoshJrumJrastic and welcome to another SCP video. In today's video, we're going to be watching SCP-1179. Ancient Mind Monster wakes up. I can't read that next word because I'm dyslexic. Fire Demon, SCP animation. It's 10 minutes long. Make sure you have your water with you. Water's very important. Anyways, guys, before we get into the video, I have an announcement to make. If you have not seen the video where I talk about my new shirt, I suggest you go watch it. It's about these things right here. These awesome pieces of art, I feel like. If you want to know more about them, the video, I'll link it down in the description. It'll be called my t-shirt video or whatever. And you go click on that, watch that video, and let me know if you want one. But that's not what we're here for today. Today we are here to watch SCPs. Lovely. If you're wondering why my bathroom door is open, it is because my dog walked through there. Begin.
Axe shatters the rocky wall of a mine shaft, hundreds of feet below the earth. It's 1871, in a place that will later be known as Columbia County, Pennsylvania. Men performing back-breaking labor, their hands and faces blackened with dirt, all working in pursuit of that immensely valuable rock, coal. It's the fuel for the booming industrial revolution, and much like how dragons were said to guard gold, this more modern treasure pointed to an even more terrifying monster. A monster that the SCP Foundation would someday come to know as SCP-1179.
Oh, 11.
But these unfortunate and underpaid miners had no idea what they were about to discover. One of the men working there that day, Rob O'Dwyer, was hammering away at the wall in front of him when he heard something strange. Was that an echo behind the rocks? This could mean only one thing. The rocks in front of them were hollow. There had to be some kind of space hiding behind them. O'Dwyer struck again and again at the rocks in front of him until the barrier finally tumbled.
Oh, is it like an egg?
He and the other miners suddenly felt a gust of cool, ancient air from the vast and darkened cavern in front of them sweep through the mine. They felt like they were standing on the edge of something truly otherworldly. As they lifted their safety lamps high and crept carefully into the dark, it dawned on them that they were likely the first human beings to ever set foot here, but that didn't mean something non-human hadn't gotten there first. O'Dwyer's lamp soon found something in the dark, a huge figure curled into a crouching position hiding its face. It was made from stone, like an enormous yet incredibly detailed statue of something almost human, but not quite. The petrified thing had two great horns on either side of its head, twisting into spirals like that of a huge ram. Word of the giant frozen monster hidden in the bottom of the mine soon made its way back to the foreman, and then back to the mine's owner, one Sean O'Malley. If it were anyone else, perhaps this news would have been taken to the press immediately, and the Foundation would have taken control of the situation just as quickly. But Mr. O'Malley was no ordinary mining magnate. He was a member of the Molly Maguires, an Irish-American secret society whose members were predominantly coal miners in Pennsylvania. Sean and the other Molly Maguires dubbed this anomaly the Sleeping Stone Giant, and conspired to keep it a secret between them, as secret societies have a habit of doing. Though the Molly Maguires were disbanded less than a decade later, they were all sworn to secrecy on the Giant's resting place. Until, of course, a descendant of Sean O'Malley, his grandson Ian O'Malley, was chosen as a prospective agent of the SCP Foundation.
Weird.
The Foundation doesn't just let anyone join their ranks. They perform an extensive background check on all prospective agents, both to find out that they're capable of rising to the challenges of the job, and also to detect any affiliation to enemy groups of interest. It was during this background check that O'Malley's subterranean family secret was discovered, and the land above the old mine shaft was bought up by a front company owned by the Foundation. The Sleeping Stone Giant was finally in capable hands, and in keeping with standard procedure, a research site was built above the Giant to gather data and keep an eye on things. At the time, the anomaly was considered extremely low risk. Its containment file read, SCP-1179 is apparently dormant, encased in the bedrock under research site. Apart from simple monitoring and standard research safety protocols, no additional containment is deemed necessary at this time. But of course, those simple containment procedures would soon need updating. In 1962, the town of Centralia, Pennsylvania had a trash problem. There were 8 illegal trash dumping sites across the town, and to combat this issue, the town council opened up a huge landfill in an abandoned mine shaft. You'd think this would be enough for the moderately sized town, but humans have a tendency to produce a lot of trash, and they soon filled up the new landfill too. In order to address the issue, the town decided to do a controlled burn of some of the garbage. It should have been simple enough, but those who lit this garbage fire didn't follow proper safety procedures and ended up accidentally igniting a seam of anthracite coal. This was like lighting the fuse to the world's largest stick of dynamite, and fire soon coursed through the long abandoned mine tunnels. When the fireball finally reached the sleeping stone giant in his dark pit, the beast woke up. In that instant, an otherwise uneventful day quickly became a brutal bloodbath. Researchers walking through the base felt a monstrous rumbling beneath them. Heat sensors were burning up and seismic readings were off the scale. Something was climbing up towards them. Suddenly, an impossibly large sword speared its way out of the floor, killing everyone around it with an immense blast of heat. The newly awakened monster went on an underground rampage, almost completely destroying the research base and killing nearly everyone inside, before retreating into the honeycomb of coal mines and caverns in the area, igniting even more anthracite coal fires. The Foundation needed to step in before things really got out of control. At present, the Foundation couldn't properly administer standard area construction protocols for Keter Class SCPs, so they instead designated the mines, caverns, and surrounding countryside as Area 179, and dispatched mobile task forces to try and contain the beast rampaging in the Centralia mines. But much like the fire that started this whole mess, the beast proved much harder to control than initially imagined. All 5 of the expeditionary teams sent to apprehend the monster failed, and many team members were slaughtered in the process.
You just sent them
From the
to
terrifying
their
accounts
death.
of the survivors, we have a vague idea of the nature of the beast below. No pictures of the creature exist, and exact descriptions on the beast can vary. Whether this is because the beast frequently shapeshifts or because it has some kind of cognito-hazardous effects on those who view it is unclear. The most frequently reported characteristics of the creature are its immense height and the extreme heat that its body exudes. Many report that the creature's body seemed to be formed of a mix of hardened lava, pure fire, and burning smoke. The beast measures over 30 meters from head to toe, with shoulders over 8 meters wide. It's commonly said to have 2 huge ram-like horns and a weathered, bearded face. The beast has been compared by some to the Norse mythological figure Surtur, the giant guarding the frontier of the Norse fire realm of Muspel. However, the actual age of the creature seems to predate these legends by a considerable margin.
Nice.
Dating of the stratum encasing SCP-1179 indicates it dates to the Mississippian subperiod of the Carboniferous period, approximately 359.2 to 318.1 million years ago. This age is consistent with the geological age of this region, so it may have literally come with the territory. Less common descriptions of the beast claim that it has huge wings, eyes made of hellfire, and fangs as long as a man's arm. Some say that the beast has neither horns nor fangs, and its face is encircled by flames which reach down into a long beard of fire. And like a certain creature known as the Balrog that Lord of the Rings fans will be very familiar with, this beast comes with weapons. In one hand, the beast wields a giant burning sword around 5 meters in length. In the other, it wields a huge multi-tailed whip made out of fire. It's incredibly proficient with these weapons too, and has a serious strategic advantage in its underground environment. Foundation researchers have determined that some of the wounds the beast gained from its first confrontation haven't fully healed, implying the beast could, in theory, be destroyed with enough firepower. However, given that the beast has killed almost everyone who faced it, and its mere presence can start almost uncontrollable fires, direct engagement would only be used as a last resort. Even the creature's breath can be extremely dangerous. Chemical analysis of air samples taken from SCP-1179's breath have shown exceptionally high concentrations of carbon monoxide and sulfur dioxide. The very presence of this creature creates a real and active danger to everyone around it. And the beast's presence was beginning to have seriously negative effects on the people up above. By the 1970s, the Foundation had given up on sending mobile task forces into the caverns, and instead began to focus on depopulating the town of Centralia to prevent further fatalities from the presence of SCP-1179. The subterranean activities of the creature were causing collapses in some areas, and noxious fumes were beginning to rise up from cracks in the ground. As the constant raging fires burned beneath the earth, they were causing everything above to slowly melt
Just
or
doesn't
bake.
seem good.
The Foundation geologists determined that the fires created by the beast would likely remain active for 250 years, and any attempts to put out the fires or contain the beast would ultimately be futile. This led to the formation of Project Tartarus, a concerted effort to cover up SCP-1179 and fully evacuate the citizens of Centralia. They pushed the narrative that the mine fires, while deadly, were merely the result of the failed garbage burning plan, and little by little, the people of Centralia began to move away. By 1984, the United States government finally caved to secret lobbying from the Foundation and allocated funds in excess of $42 million to relocate the remaining civilian residents from the area. Any legal complaints from Centralia residents were quietly crushed by the Foundation, and efforts to remove pretty much all residents from the area were successful. This allowed the Foundation to finally cast a wider net and administer Keter Class containment protocols around the 2-kilometer underground zone where SCP-1179 resides.
Dang.
The Foundation has continued studies on the beast from below in the decades since, with some scientists even suggesting it could be used to produce geothermal energy, but whether or not that would actually be feasible remains unknown. For now, SCP-1179 seems content to stay within its zone, and hopefully it stays that way. But as we're forced to dig deeper and deeper for the remaining precious metals here on Earth, there's no telling what new dangers we might find lurking far below the ground. Now go watch SCP-2000 Deus Ex.
That was interesting. So wait, so he's saying there's more? He's saying there's more of them. What are they? What is it? Like, what is it, though? Because I don't entirely understand what it is. Or what it could be. Like... Do we not have a SCP that's just really cold? Can't we send that SCP in there? I'm sure there's some SCP that just produces ice at the wazoo. So, like, why can't we just send that thing in there and then, like, they just fight each other? That'd be pretty cool, not gonna lie. Actually, that would be terrible. Forget I said that. That would be horrible. It would produce so much steam, and if the steam couldn't escape, everything explodes. But yeah. Anyways. I love hearing about SCP fights. Anyways, guys, as always. Yeah. Stay strong, everyone. Stay safe. Wear your seatbelt, wear your helmet, wear your mask. Don't put the flashlight behind you. Don't look in the haunted mirrors. And as always, have a nice day. I think it would be a cool fight, not gonna lie.